Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Put your hand up on my shoulder while you look over the other, waiting for a better offer, waiting for someone to take your breath away. Used to put you in the shower after blitzing happy hour, making sure that you were breathing. Now I'm left for dead and you couldn't care less. No, I'll see you on the way down. Say you don't need me around. I'll see you on the way down. No, I don't need you around. No. Nothing long until the dial tone. Such a non-committal notion. Told me that you got a new phone, and I let you fake it, 'cause I can't take it. Now I'm stuck in the big ones while you go and make your own fun. Think it's cool, you know the DJ. I've spoken the exit, so I can make it. I'll see you on the way down. Say you don't need me around. I'll see you on the way down. No, I don't need you around. No, I'll see you on the way down. Say you don't need me around. I'll see you on the way down. No, I don't need you around.
Lahey live on KEXP.
I just got the letter you shouldn't send. You said a lot of shit, but still on your end. I see what you're watching on my account. Didn't just know what you're doing now. So I cut my losses and cut my hair. I went to close your tab, but it wasn't there. Oh, you can't put a price on that. Give all you have, get nothing back. But never leaves you in the black. You'll never get your money. You'll never get your money back.
You're listening to Alex Lahey live on KEXP, playing songs from the new album, The Answer Is Always Yes.
Everyone's a bit fucked up, but they think they're okay, especially when they're out of their houses today. Forgotten how to talk, but never shut up. I want a good time, not a long time. Let's get the hell out, come on. I haven't seen you around. You're not happy being down on this side of town. I'm tied around the quarterbacks, glued in the sneaker store. Groups of them in and out of cubicle doors. I just want a good time, don't care how good. I know everybody needs it. All I get is blood feeling. Now I know everybody needs it. We were swinging punches, yeah, knocked down, now everybody's bleeding. I just want a good time, don't care how good. I know everybody needs Can't believe it's the end when it's starting again. Been filled up to the brim, but I feel so drained. Lost my sense of time, not going with the flow. Boarded up the windows, I got nothing to show. Still stuck in traffic at the end of the day. They smell the roses, but I just wanna lay. Same song on loop, but I don't feel a thing. The new game plan is to sensitize it. I just want a good time, don't care how good. I know everybody needs it. All I get is blood feeling. I'm out there, but everybody needs it. We were swinging punches, yeah, knocked down, now everybody's bleeding. I just want a good time, don't care how good. I know everybody needs it. I just want a good time, don't care how good. I know everybody needs it. All I get is blood feeling. Now everybody needs it. We were swinging punches, yeah, knocked down, now everybody's bleeding. I just want a good time, don't care how good. I know everybody needs it. Backseat of a hybrid, trying to get some extra mileage. There's a podcast on the radio. Who killed who will never know. Sucking on the thumb drive so I don't get too excited. But if I'm gonna die here, well, at least the engine's quiet. It's a long way of trying to be seen. Don't walk out, 'cause there's no in between. They'll tell you at the end, the answer's always yes.
You're listening to Alex Lahey live on KEXP, the title track from the new album, The Answer Is Always Yes. It is so fun to watch all of you perform. You're clearly having a fantastic time. Matt's also doing an aerobics class at the same time. Doubling up there. But thank you so much for coming in today. That sounded wonderful.
Thank you so much for having us. This is the first time any of us have ever been here, so it really, really means the world to be, in this room.
Well, as we said, you did a wonderful virtual session for us when it was hard for us all to gather together and see live music. So we really appreciate that. And it is wonderful to have you here in this beautiful space built just for the artists and making you sound and look your best here. And I love this new release. The Answer Is Always Yes. And Alex, I feel like it's authentically you in your truest form as an artist, with all your weirdness and also embracing all the weirdness of the world that we live in. And you're laughing at your past experiences, but also bringing a satirical twist to your lyrical storytelling. And I'm just wondering where this record came from for you at this time in your life. I mean, how did this diverse mashup of post-punk, pop, and energetic indie rock all come together for you at this time?
Yeah, those are really kind words, Cheryl. I really appreciate that. I think I think it came from time. One of the things, as awful as it was to, not be able to perform and tour and sort of do, our jobs the way that we want to do them, there was a silver lining that, we were all granted this luxury of time, which, is something that you don't usually get no matter what you do, in life, but especially when you're on the road a lot. And so I think it was really awesome to kind of piecemeal an album together, whereas I found that particularly on the last record, which, it's one way of making a record, which is like you have 4 weeks and you're in, and that's the block of time that you have off the road to make the record. And it's amazing to capture like a snapshot of time in that way. But it's a totally different ballgame when you have so much time, And I think like with time, I felt more licensed to explore and to take risks because, if it didn't feel good or it didn't turn out all right, then I had more time to kind of see what else is out there.
Talking about the luxury of time and being at home, not only helping in your artistic endeavors, but you were able, I read an interview where you talked about being able to spend more time building and solidifying relationships at home, that when you were on tour and going away and coming back so frequently, I hear people talk all the time about going away and then stepping back into their life when everybody else has been living it all along. And you talked about spending that time, which can be difficult, and that spending so much time alone at home, or at home, not alone, what made those relationships even stronger, so that when you go away now, you feel like you're coming back to something more solid.
Yeah, I think it actually happened at a good time in my life to come back and really solidify those relationships, both with, with my family and my friends and people that I work with and all that kind of stuff. It was a really great way to kind of, touch base and establish those what I anticipate being these relationships and friendships for life. So it was really cool. And I think even there's a lot of songs on the record before this one that's about I'm never home and I don't get invited out because no one knows whether or not I'm in town and all that sort of stuff. And this is the antithesis of it in a way. It's been so beautiful to kind of reclaim my personal life in a way.
You have talked about how music is a great connector. Of course, that's a universal theme. It provides a way for us to grapple with the realities of what's going on in life around us. And you definitely do that through your music. You're tackling some very deep things in this record, but as evidenced by that set you just played, it's just so joyous and uplifting. I mean, Good Time just kicks off the record. We're singing along, we're clapping along. Can you talk about some of the things that you're grappling with in this record and addressing about the life that's going on around you and that's affecting all of us as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the thing that I've my brother he talks a lot about the absurdity of life. And I think that that is something that I really came into this record thinking about a lot and kind of became this overarching theme of it. And I really, tried to bring that into the other aspects of the record, the music videos. There are quite sort of surrealist and absurd kind of moments in there. And I think that life throws at you, these really unexpected things all the time. And it's hard, right? And I find that for me, I find a lot of ease and solace in finding the humor in things. And I think that comes across a bit in the music, not because I'm trying to be funny, like in the lyric, but more just because that's sort of the way I communicate and the way that I kind of like harness those difficulties, like when they're thrown at me. So I think that's kind of like a big theme that happens throughout the record, even though like the vignettes like that kind of occur, these events that happen in the music like aren't necessarily like particularly crazy. Like they're pretty universal, I think.
You talked about the videos just now, and it just looks like you had so much fun with these videos. Congratulations as you're making out with yourself. And they wouldn't let me in. It looks like you're doing a choreographed dance and having so much fun with that. It was super fun to watch. Were you super involved in putting those together?
Yeah, so my strategy with this record's batch of music videos is that I have always hated making music videos. It has been something that I've really dragged my feet into. It is so not my comfort zone. And I decided with this album, I'm like, you know, sort of in the spirit of the answer is always yes, I guess, like just like really threw myself into being as involved as possible in the project, you know, of the time. And yeah, was, you know, sort of kept the collaborative ethos of like a lot of what the record kind of is built on, like in the music videos as well, and was really lucky to work with some people who were kind of up for that as well. So yeah, kind of having these like weird ideas, like you said, in Congratulations, the only vision I had was like, I need to make out with myself. That's like, that's the touchstone. And then they wouldn't let me in. I really wanted to challenge myself and do some choreography. And yeah, it was a really good way to enjoy the process.
You do a little bit of collaborating, not only in your own work, but you've produced other people. And what does that bring to your music? Is that something that you're doing more and more of?
Yeah, it is. And I love it. You know, like I think as an artist, like in theory, you kind of have like really more or less like a finite amount of records that kind of happens in your lifespan. But, you know, collaborating with other people, it kind of makes it more infinite. And that's really exciting. I love nothing more than making music and making records and playing with people. So, like, you know, it's just the dream to be able to do that kind of stuff and to work with, like, you know, really talented people and artists and bands. Like, I learn so much from that. Like, it's a real joy and one of my favorite things in the world. So, I mean, I just think that, like, it's all practice, right? Like, you just, like, every time you're in a setting like that, you're just, like, further honing, like, the things that you do, and it's awesome.
Well, you have such a wonderful connection with your fans, and I had heard that some of them ended up getting married at your show and right there on stage. How did it feel to be a part of such a defining moment in people's lives? Yeah,
it's so funny. We were talking about the brides. We call them the brides. We were talking about the brides yesterday. They're doing well. And yeah, like I think for that, I mean, it was just sort of like something that kind of happened after I, mentioned sort of in passing would be open to having people getting married on this tour in Australia, and this couple like pulled it together and we all pulled it off, and it was really fun. But you know, like for me, it's obviously like a really fun spectacle and like thing to be involved in. But you know, then there's also other like subtexts that come with it. Like it's amazing to literally give a stage to queer joy. You know, the opportunity to do that as an artist is like so not lost on me, and it's just like to me like such an enormous privilege to be able to like allow for that space.
I love it. Well, we appreciate you being here in our space today. You sounded amazing. Alex Lahey and her band playing songs from The Answer is Always Yes. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Cheryl. This is awesome.
I want to thank all of our wonderful listeners and viewers as well for supporting great live sessions like this one. You can watch so many more at KEXP's YouTube channel. In fact, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get notification every time we launch a wonderful new video. And if you'd like to support that effort, we are a public station supported by our listeners. You can find out more about us and make a gift anytime at KEXP.org. Once again, a big thank you to Alex Lahey.
Thank you.
Live on KEXP Seattle.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?